Hello everyone and welcome to Moonrise. This is Dave Johnson on my political channel where I do political predictions. If you would like a reading, don't hesitate to look below at my website where you can check out what I do and perhaps sign up for one. Also, I've just made a video on my other channel where I show you how to channel. I have a client there named Joanne. She was terrific, got some great answers. But it's also a sort of tutorial for you to learn how to do this. Obviously, you can call me and I will give you instructions. But if you watch this video, it will really give you a great idea on how to do that. And I'm going to try to put it in this little box here. And I'm always doing the wrong side. Maybe it's over here. Take a look. Today we're going to see about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, I have trouble saying that name because, well, I'm not going to comment too much on what I think of her. I just really want to know if she's going to help the party or hurt it. Yeah, it's very weird energy. I haven't really looked forward to doing this, but it's important. How? Okay, so some of you who've talked to me about readings before, I always start in a sort of square when I'm reading, and it could be like a baseball diamond, or it could be a boxing ring, or it could be a corral at a ranch. Now, hers is a baseball diamond, and she's wearing those goofy clothes that she kind of wears, and she hits a she hits a ball, and it hits me right in the head. I'm way out in the audience, but bang, plunk, and she's smiling. Okay, she's glad she hit me in the head. So, I mean, what does that tell you about a person? They just enjoy harming others. It's the mean girl in school, right? So remember, this reading is not about whether she's a good person or not. It's about whether she's going to help or harm the party that she is in. So what does that mean, Spirit? She just hit me in the head. She doesn't care if she hits anyone in the head, as long as it doesn't come back on her. She's pretty sociopathic. What does that mean for the party? You know, that this is what it means. Sooner or later, even conservatives start to see that she's just a nasty person, that she doesn't care about other people. Remember when she hits that ball, she can whack Mitch McConnell in the head or Lauren Boebert in the head or anyone. I mean, if it whacked Donald Trump in the head, she wouldn't care as long as she could get away with it, as long as he didn't fight back and it didn't harm her. So voters will see this. People will, even conservatives will see that she's, that unpleasant person that you had in high school class. So Spirities, I'd just like to know more about how this will go for the party. So she is the face of the party, and her face comes very close to me. She is the face of this party. She is the face of the crazies. She's a bit more, I want to say powerful, but organized than Lauren Boebert, who's also kind of the face of the party. Um, she's kind of like a female Jim Jordan, who just interrupts. They're very rude. They ask questions that you can really answer. So this is an interesting thing. Jordan will always get elected because the state has been gerrymandered in such a way. So he doesn't care about other people's states. He doesn't care about taking the Senate in general. He cares about his own election. So he can just do terrible things here and there, terrible things there. MTG can probably relatively safe in the district. So they don't really care about the other portions of the party. They don't care whether they succeed. So it's like you have this wild actor, unpredictable actor, even within your own sphere that you cannot control, that will do harm to the party, that will do harm to the nation, but more specifically, they will cause other Republicans to leave. They will cause other Republicans to lose their elections because they're representing it in a really dark way. When we sometimes watch, Hitler on in the videos. We watch movies of him, we hear him speak. It's really chilling, but at the same time fascinating. But at the same time, we can observe the people in that time and say, what was it about that guy that they were following him? What was it that made them believe him and trust him? And this is the future too. When we think of the future, they will look back and say, look at the image of this person and how unkind and rude she is, how unfair she is, about how superficial they are. Kids getting shot left and right. They're not doing anything about that. So let's see. What else can we know about this? It's funny because MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, should just show up as like really overeating. She's like hogging all the food. This is like another representation of, as long as I get elected, forget you guys. And the other Republicans are like, where's my dinner? What do I even get an hors d'oeuvre here? You're eating all the food. She's taking up all their attention, and she's taking votes away from them, and they're starting not to like it. It's embarrassing the way that she acts. Trump could get away with this because he has a sort of magic power to convince people. She doesn't have that power. Nobody likes Tim Jordan, even if they voted for him. Okay, now MTG's smoking a cigarette in a non-smoking area. Okay, so it's like she's going to break every rule. These are all the things that the party has learned over time, how we should be successful, how we should stick together. Reagan never allowed a Republican to criticize another Republican. All those are being thrown out. All of those strategies, many of which were successful, are being just thrown out the window as she chain smokes while everybody else is eating. And here's the thing, she just spews. She says whatever she is thinking, and then she's contradicted, and people are like, well, no, that didn't happen, and here's the proof. And so she spews. So she's kind of like the example of the ill-informed or non-informed voter. She's just spewing, spewing, spewing. And in that, sometimes we wish there was somebody who was able to, contradict her in a better way. But realize that's all of you and me. We're watching, and we know what we think of this person. But do Republicans think that? What will the average Republican see? A bit of a vulgarian. So, that's true for Trump. They're like, well, I don't really like his tweets, but she's really gross. And it's, in that culture, there's a lot of sexism. So somehow things that a man could get away with, she's not supposed to do. She's supposed to be more polite and ladylike. Now, I don't want to subscribe to such nonsense, but that's what the Republicans perceive. It's like I'm seeing a very neutral sort of man there, and he's watching. He's a little bit surprised at the way that she's behaving. And this is the thing that I think is very important. He's not really entertained. And one thing we all got to notice is politics has become entertainment. What used to be a movie is now we watch people fight on and argue on TV. I mean, you've seen Donald Trump's face more than any other human being's face, and I bet you're sick of it. I sure am. But that is the news today. It is a sort of game where people say more and more outrageous things and get away with it. And that's how they get attention. This is just important to notice because depending on how entertaining Marjorie Taylor Greene is, she will be reelected or enjoyed and loved or not. She's just trashy, that's, yeah, I'm looking from the point of view of this man, and she's just trashy. She's just like munching on a sandwich. She has bad posture, and she's like sprinkling food everywhere. And all these guys, are in suits, and again, it's a sexist culture, and they're in their suits, and they're well dressed, and they're wearing a tie, and they have an office which they manage, and they're very organized, and stuff like that. I mean, they might be delusional or duplicitous, but they are at least organized. They are at least trying to be conscientious about what is said, and they're just looking at her going, you don't have, it's almost just like watching a TV show. They are sort of watching, and it's like worthwhile to watch, but that doesn't mean they respect her or like her or trust her. And as she's speaking, some people are becoming more uncomfortable with her. They're starting to shift in their seats. Okay, this is really gross. She lets out a big belch, and somebody gets up and leaves. And it's getting beyond just being irritated, they're or even disgusted. They're just like, I can't watch it anymore. Yeah, they kind of consider her kind of a tramp. Okay, another fellow's getting up, and he actually says something. Second guy's like, look, you're not doing us any good. This is not all about you. And she's mystified, like, what do you mean it's not? I thought everybody was totally self-involved and totally selfish and blind to any other truths but their own. I thought everybody was like that. She's actually surprised. And she doesn't have much respect for them either. She respects power. She respects people that can verbalize and make stuff happen, like just people who can talk and create. And these guys are too polite for her. So let us maybe see this from a different angle of how just Americans will deal with this sort of vulgar MAGA movement. Keep in mind, a lot of the you sometimes read these polls and statistics about how Trump's more popular than Biden. Take these with a big grain of salt. They are not necessarily accurate. Who knows how they're doing those surveys or why and all these things. But you know, there's a whole silent group of people who don't respond to surveys who have an opinion. They might not even share the opinion with their spouse or their neighbor because that will just be more fighting. But they're quiet and they're watching, and they are making their own decisions, and they have no need to share that position because why argue? You know, um, you'll just be polite at the party, but you're not going to argue. And that's not the worst policy. So are you going to convince anybody anyway? So if you're one of those people that's doing that, I commend you. Have a hard time biting my own tongue, but I should do better at that because I'm not going to change anybody's mind. So here are all these, and I feel like they're men and women, and they're just observing, they're just watching, and they're kind of like, we'll make our own decisions. You don't need to persuade us. We know what we see. And actually, a few of the people in this audience are also getting angry. This is, again, the sort of silent America that we don't necessarily hear about. So one of those people in the sort of, gallery does something very interesting. They have a knife between their teeth, and they go to a rope which holds a light over her, and they cut the rope, and the light goes smash, and it falls right next to MTG. And she's surprised. She's like, "What? You don't like me?" It's like a kind of a wake up. So is Marjorie Taylor Greene going to lose her next election? It's not entirely clear. Um, I'm thinking it's unlikely that she will lose. So, can you show me in a different way? Will Marjorie Taylor Greene lose? Yeah, I'm getting as up down line, and that means it's not really decided yet. It will depend on other things, but she is going to be surprised. So if she's found to be disliked, that will make a change. If she's considered a liability by her party, this will surprise her. She thinks that she's rocking in a particular direction, but she's a little bit naive. The lights do go out that support her. Again, she's smoking a cigarette and then she just flicks it out a window, like even though there's like a field of wheat. And so you gotta wonder, like, is she just careless? She's just very careless. And in some sense, I think she doesn't really care whether people like her or not. She doesn't care whether she destroys our government or not. She's like a chaos agent. She's a sort of Steve Bannon who will destroy for their own amusement. There's no moral compass here. And I think that is becoming apparent for the average American. What else? One thing I do want to advise, as we are in this process where we're distinguishing truth from falsehood, there are always these people who are sort of representing falsehood for us. Understand that in that way, they do have value. If you have false in front of you, you can come up with truth. So keep in mind that the situation that all of us are in may be necessary for our own growth. Rather than condemn these people, obviously we need to follow the law and do these things, but make sure that it is productive in the sense of hating anyone is a bit of a waste of time. We want to do what's necessary, come up with our arguments, target what needs to be targeted, but don't allow Marjorie Taylor Greene or any of these people to control your lives. Don't give up your power. You must choose to switch them off. Don't watch lousy people on YouTube who are crazy right wingers because they get money out of that. So it is really useful, especially to counteract a video that's negative with something that's totally positive. Feel free to go beyond politics if you so wish. Remember that most people are good, and even underneath the darkness, there's always something good about a person. We don't know why they evolved in a particular way. We don't know why Marjorie Taylor Greene is the way she is. We're not justifying what she did. We're not justifying who she is or her actions. What we're doing is keeping our own power, and insofar as we can be sort of above the anger, we will be well suited. Thanks so much for watching.